only on Christ 17 TV, back upside your head with another one. And today I was thinking about when I was a little kid and my sister whooped my ass all the way down the block. I mean, this was a long block. This is what my grandma had her house on Carlton. I was maybe, what was I, 9? Maybe 9, 10, maybe 8. I can't think of how long it was, but I know it was in the 1980s. The 80s. I remember that specifically. Okay, I had a friend named Tony Montoya. I'm sorry, Tony Montana is a whole different person. That's Scarface, okay? Tony Montoya. And his family and my family was very, cool. I mean, we were so cool as kids. We knew each other, and even when my grandma went to her old folks' home, Tony's little brother Rudy worked there and kept an eye on my grandmother. So, and that was my brother's, like, his best little friend. So me and Tony was really cool. But when I was a young kid, I was a badass kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. I lived in some places that was real hood. Like, Tenderloin, in and out of shelters when I first moved to New York. But I'll never forget the time where I used to like to throw rocks. My thing was throwing rocks. My grandma had a plum tree, an apricot tree, a pomegranate tree, a tangerine tree. And I was known for getting the little bat, the little fat red bat, plastic bat, and throwing up the fruit and hitting the fruit. I mean, I would hit it and it would hit cars, hit houses. I was really bad. There wasn't too much to do in the 1980s but be a badass kid. So I remember this time I was throwing rocks, and I threw this little ass rock, I don't know why, at my friend Tony Montoya's mother's car. It was parked, and I just barely threw it, and the whole window bust out crazily. I mean, the whole shit bust, and I did it in front of Tony. So he went, told his mother told my sister, and I was hiding. I was like way down there by the car, but trying to hide because I knew I was in a gang of problems. So my grandma didn't come down here. My sister came down there. And my sister, back then, she was protective of me like hell. But at that day, I never had my ass whipped like that by her ever before that or ever after that. I mean, she must have kicked my ass from almost the corner of Parker all the way down to my grandmother's door, inside the house, whooped me all the way to the room, threw me in the room and closed the door and told me, don't come out. To this day, I bring that up to her and she laughs. Like, how do you remember that? I remember everything, sis. Mom, everybody, grandma, everybody. I remember everything since a little ass kid. I can even remember my grandfather, and he died when I was like 3 years old, and I remember him. I remember getting pulled over on a motorcycle with him, and then the cop pulls him over. My grandpa gives his ID, and the guy said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Westwood," and let us go. But because my grandfather used to be a gunsmith, so he knew all the police, plus he was a veteran. So my sister whooped my ass. I'm talking about whooped it so bad, I didn't want to come out that room. I mean, she whooped my butt good, but I deserved it. I just threw a rock and broke my friend's mother's window, and now my grandmother was gonna have to pay to replace the window. And this was actually the second time. I mean, I had broke a window next door to my grandma's house. This old lady, I was throwing rocks through the trees, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was intentionally trying to break the window. I wasn't, oh, that's a mistake. I was just a bad kid. I was up to no good. I mean, I didn't have no dad. I was mad. I was mad. I didn't know who my dad was. I didn't know shit. So it really fucked me up. You know what I'm saying? And I used to just be mad. So I used to have an arm too. When I was a kid, you can ask any of my family, my friends. I could throw a rock farther than anybody. I could skip a rock through the water like 15 times. That's how strong my arm is. It was like a slingshot. So I broke the first one. But when I broke the second window, and my sister came down there and she grabbed she dragged me and was whooping me. I know she probably almost broke her hand, because she was whooping my butt. Like every 2 steps, she was whooping my ass. And I'm like, I was crying. She kicked my ass. I'm crying for my mama. Then when they told my mama, she wanted to kick my ass. My grandma wanted to kick my ass. I had a lot of ass whippings waiting in line for this one incident I did, because this was my friend. Tony's mother, to this day, I see her. And this is 40 years damn near, and I still give her a hug, and I love that lady. I love Mona. She is a beautiful person, and she always has been. And I was just thinking, like, I was reminiscing, like, damn, that's like the only, well, not the only time, but that was the one time that I remember that my sister got a hold of me for breaking Mona's window, her car window. And they didn't have a whole bunch of money. They were barely getting by. So for me to break her window was some bullshit. But I was just a bad kid. I didn't know no better. And I was thinking about that, like, damn, my big sis really kicked my little ass up and down that block, and I deserved it. I was telling her, I hate you. But I don't hate my sister. You know what I hated? I hated that ass whipping she gave me up and down that block until she brought me inside the house. But I was just thinking, and I just wanted to tell this funny story, because I don't really talk much about my big sister. We didn't really spend a lot of time growing up, but I love her, and all the way to the crib. So I just wanted to drop a funny story of me getting my ass kicked for being a badass kid. And Mona, to this day, I'm sorry. We laugh about this shit now, but it wasn't no laughing matter when she had to walk down there and whoop my ass all the way to my grandma's house. And then my grandma was mad. And see, when grandma would hit me, she had this paddle, and it had these little like, it's hard to say, but it was a paddle, and she used to bam, 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 and whoop my butt. Because I was so bad. I remember Felix's dad. We are hiding in a bush, throwing shit at cars. He's riding a motorcycle, and I hit this guy. I had aim too. Boom! He pulls over, he finds us in the bushes. He grabbed me up, and he was gonna whoop my ass. My friend Felix's dad was gonna whoop my ass and then let my grandma do it. But I was super scared. I was super fucking scared. This guy did not play. As fast as he stopped, my eyes got big, like, oh shit. And it was crazy, because he knew exactly where it came from that bush. And I was cracking up down the line. But my grandma tore me up for that shit. I remember just being a kid who didn't have no dad, didn't know what he looked like. He never gave a shit about me. All my friends had dads. And they used to bother me so bad that I didn't have nobody to play catch with. Nobody to take me to a ball game. My grandma took me to ball games. Okay? My grandma took me to Oakland A's games. That's who took me to ball games. So, I just wanted to drop a few lines because I reminisce. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because my grandma's gone now. And it's sad because I miss her. So, with that being said, hit that like, hit that subscribe. It won't cost you a dime. And like I tell you every time, around this time, sometimes you got to reminisce and go all the way back in the crates and think of the good days when you was a little kid, you was bad, and your ass whippings came not because it was child abuse, like I had a stepfather who used to beat me for nothing, but because I actually deserved an ass whipping, which kids don't get nowadays, and that's why these kids are all fucked up, because nobody puts belt to ass no more unless they talking about some different stuff. So, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hearing this funny throwback story on how my sister whooped me from A to B to C. So from A was where the crime committed when I broke the window. B was to my grandma's front door, and C was to the room she threw me in and yelled at me for another 10 minutes. Then when she left, my grandma came in the room and she yelled at me, and I just said, I hate you guys. Now, you know I didn't hate nobody, but I hated that ass whipping. I mean, my sister whooped me all the way up the damn street, and I remember it to this day, and my ass still hurts. So, love you, sis. Hope you see this and you get a great laugh, because this shit is hilarious. Catch you guys on the flip side. Christ 17 TV, like and subscribe.